Down Home Up Close is brought to you by Growing Ideas Florist in Midlothian.
Hi, I'm Marlene Norcross. I've been a real estate agent now for 3 years, but I've been in real estate for over 30 years with my husband, Wayne Norcross. We own City Real Estate, and we believe that our community involvement is what makes our brokerage strong. Our agents are localized specialists in all 5 of our offices. I personally participate in the Ellis County Museum, and I'm on their board. We participate with SPCA, the Downtown Merchants Associations, and many of the school programs locally. We believe community involvement is the backbone of City Real Estate. Last year I did $20 million in sales with over 79 transactions. That was a lot of happy clients, but what I'm most excited about is seeing that client get a new home or my sellers start their next journey. I love the thrill of the sale. So today I thought it would be fun to bring Vanessa Zamolik in and let's talk about the market. So this is Vanessa Zamolik with Guild Mortgage. Vanessa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been in the mortgage industry for 30 years, starting in processing and then in sales, and have done all aspects of mortgage, so I have a pretty good background in it. I'm with Guild Mortgage, and I've been working with them 11 years, and we just enjoy doing mortgages, and we do all kinds for our customers and work really close with our real estate agents.
So if you're ready to buy or sell, I'm Marlene Norcross with City Real Estate. The best way to get a hold of me is to call me or text me at 512-431-4413. And I also want to make sure you know how to get a hold of Vanessa so you can start the loan process.
You can get a hold of me, Vanessa Zamolik, at Guild Mortgage, 469-337-4578. And you can apply at my website, www.vanessazamolik.com.
So let's go house hunting.
Ellis County, I'm Amy Troll, and welcome to this edition of Down Home Up Close. And today we are with David Smith. He is a local author and poet, and you can find a lot of his poetry in the Waxahachie Sun, both in print and online. And he recently has a book that he's got, and we just wanted to get to know him a little bit and just tell you about what he's doing in and around the county, but also other places
as a
too.
Cowboy Poet.
Yeah.
And I am David Smith, and thanks for having me today. Years ago, one of our friends told me and my wife to come with him to Alpine, Texas. He said there's a Cowboy Poet gathering. I'd never heard of it, didn't know what that was. We went out there. They have sponsored Cowboy Poets that have albums, CDs, books, and all that, but they also have an open mic for the amateurs. And I saw those people reciting and doing, I said, I can do that. I started writing and reciting, and what's interesting about cowboy poems, it's recited. It comes from the heritage of being on the cattle drive, being around the campfire. It's an oral tradition. People don't read their poems, they recite. The first 19 poems in this book are ones that I recite, and I've done them enough time at different poet gatherings that I can just be with them. Yes, so on the event the other night here at the Lyceum, at the Sims Library, there were 114 people there. It was a big night for me. I was able to recite. I think I did 10 or 12 poems that night. And I was revved up and excited, and having all the friends there. The book release was scheduled and planned to be on the night when we could have an open event like we did, and Scott worked with me a lot. We kept waiting for COVID to get farther behind us, and on the night of the book release, what we announced was this was more or less a benefit. People got the book for a $10 donation, and all the money that came in from the donation, half went to the Friends of the Library and the other half to the Youth Expo.
Okay.
The kids that are growing the animals and doing. So I thought that would be a fitting other avenue for some of the money to go along with the cowboy idea and the doing. So it's just been fun. I've been privileged to get to do what I do as a cowboy poet. A few years ago, I was asked to compose a poem for a state historic plaque that's here in the county. When you go to Italy and go out west from town, there's a state plaque that proclaims the Shawnee Trail came through Ellis County.
Okay.
The Shawnee Trail was before the Chisholm. After the Chisholm Trail was the Great Western Trail. They kept moving the lines farther west to get away from settlers, and it was so much fun for me to recite on that day. They unveiled, there was a cowhide on the state plaque, they unveiled it, a fiddler was there, dignitaries with proclamations that the Shawnee Trail did come through Ellis County.
That's cool.
And I was able to recite that. So that poem also is in the book. So it's just an accumulation of things that I've thought and felt and observed. When you're doing a poem or writing a dissertation, anything you do, an author needs to touch on what's universal, what we're all going to connect to. And I've been able to do that. Some of these are just made up stories about people that might have been on a cattle drive through Texas.
Yeah.
And my resources are a lot of cattle drive accounts, true accounts,
Yeah.
which was a while back,
Yeah.
1871 maybe.
So how do you look all that up? Do you go to the library and check out
Yeah.
books? Do you?
There's
get
published
online?
books mostly. There's a 1,000-page book put together in 1925 by a man who contacted anybody and everybody that had owned cows, had driven cattle, and one of his scenes in this account that he had firsthand, he talked to people who had driven cattle through Ellis County in 1871. And they saw this old woman stringing beans out there, and they said, "We haven't seen many women around." She said, "To tell you, if I could get back to Tennessee without going through Arkansas, I wouldn't be here." And so for that poem, it gave me the year, and I actually included that scene of the lady stringing beans.
Yeah.
It just
That's
comes
neat.
together, the stories. Robert Frost commented one time on writing a poem. He said, "I always wonder how it's going to end when I start it." And that's true. So many times we have an idea, we have a flash, we think of a character, and the story builds.
Yeah.
One poem I wrote, morning after morning, I would recite to the next line, then the next morning recite it to there, and by the time I had finished it, I had it memorized.
Yeah.
So that
Just
was
take
fun.
it piece by piece.
Yeah. So it's just different ways. Sometimes it's a flash, sometimes you struggle with it,
Yeah.
rewrite, and
Yeah.
it's just an interesting avocation
Yeah.
to be involved with.
Now, do you live in Waxahachie?
I do. I live in
Okay.
Waxahachie, graduate from Waxahachie High School.
Okay.
And the foreword of the book was written by Wanda Kane.
Oh, yes,
She
we
was
love Wanda.
she was my English teacher when I was a senior in high school here.
Yeah.
And she and I have been lifelong friends. She's been a good mentor for literary. She was when I was in high school. And ongoing, and she pushes me, she encourages me, and so when I called her to write the foreword for the book, I said, "I want you to do this." And she said, "Well, how long of a foreword do you need?" I said, "You know how long to make a foreword."
That's not a question for you.
Yeah. So anyway, and like all of us, we're influenced by the people around us, by our interactions with people. And the night of the book release, it was so much fun because the audience supplied the energy. It was like sitting down with 114 of my best friends
Yeah.
and say, "Oh yeah, we want to hear you." So that's a good
Yeah. You
encouragement.
can kind of close your eyes and
Yeah.
imagine yourself around an old campfire and out on the trail
and just
somewhere.
recite. So I've gotten to recite numerous times in Alpine at Sul Ross University.
Okay.
I've been up to Lubbock 3 or 4 times to recite at their little civic center area. LaGrange holds their event on the fairgrounds at LaGrange, Texas.
Yeah.
And then just recently, like a week ago, I was in Cimarron, New Mexico.
Okay.
And I recited, that was our first time up there.
Yeah.
So just back in from New Mexico.
So when you travel to these events, are there other cowboy poets as well? And so y'all kind of
They do.
jump around
And it's
together?
a circuit. There's a lot of people that are way up the line from where I am, and most of them are real ranchers, and they're the nicest people. They're down to earth. They work the cattle. One couple from Colorado said their house is 12 cattle guards from a paved road.
Wow.
So that's ways back.
That's quite a ways, isn't it?
And like I say, they're just good people, and it's nice to be around them, and that tradition of telling our tales, telling what it's like to be out in nature and observe God and feel the presence and do, and it's involved. It's just there. It's just a great thing to be involved with, and we've made a lot of friends from different parts. In fact, out here at Cimarron, the two men that helped host it, one of them grew up in Cimarron, New Mexico. They remembered us from events when they met us at Alpine and different places, and kind of like family.
Yeah, like a reunion every time you go somewhere.
I've got a good friend that lives in Marlin, Texas, and he's been here to Waxahachie to recite with me before. So.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
So, what are your plans for the future? Just keep studying,
t-
keep writing,
yeah, and keep telling some more
keep
stories.
traveling.
The stories just come to you.
Yeah.
Imagination helps a little bit.
Yeah.
I was driving to Ellis one day, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if a cowboy's name was Riverbed? So on the way back home, I wrote, it's in the book.
Yeah.
The crew all called him Riverbed. Name never was explained.
I love it. Do you have a favorite poem that you've written?
There's a couple of them, and one of them was the one I was asked to do for the dedication of that plaque. And my dad was Glenn Smith, and he and I worked together for 40 plus years. And within 2 weeks after he died, I wrote this poem, and it's short enough, and I'll say it, and then I'm going to tell you about my short poems.
Okay.
I can wear his cowboy hat, I cannot fill his boots. I hear his voice as near as the night owl hoot. I hear his echo as clear as the bullfrog by the pond. I hear Daddy saying, let me tell you, son, do what you say you're going to do. Treat all people good. Always do for others the way you know you should. You know I'm proud. Do what you know to do. If you can't fill my boots, wear my Sunday shoes. And that was a blessing that just came to me. It was a nice poem, but that one's fairly short. I have two that I'd consider a little long for me. Most of them are very short. And one of the ladies at Alpine told me, I like what you do because it's terse. Well, then I had to look up terse. And it said, not superfluous and gets to the point.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's what I do. So,
Learn a new word.
Yeah. So even with an English teacher as my buddy. So, some of the cowboy poems are long. 17 quadrants, they just go on and on. They try to use up all the lingo.
Yeah.
When you're doing an open mic and there's a lot of other people waiting for their turn, I kind of train myself to get up, say your say, and go sit down. Let somebody else get up.
Yeah.
I like a chuckle, at the end, and most of mine are not very, aren't heavy, and I like to see a smile when I do that. So
Awesome.
that's kind of the story.
Well, thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on our show today.
It was fun.
Be sure and let us know when you're going to be doing more events,
Yeah.
and we'd love to, help
And
promote that.
And like I say, the Waxahachie Sun was a big encouragement.
Yeah.
And in fact, with the Poets Corner that's published in the newspaper at times, I've had a lot of poems in there published, and that's where we got the idea of doing the book. And my dad also has had poems published in there. So
That's
yeah.
great.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Appreciate you having me up here.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, y'all check out David Smith. Do you have a Facebook page or anything?
I don't.
Okay, you should.
I should.
You should get you a Facebook page. But come by the Sun anytime. We've got some of his books down here. We'd love to sell it to you. It's for a great cause.
And it's the $10 donation goes towards the Friends of the Library and the Youth Expo.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Okay, well, y'all take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.